Hey guys, Norb from AP Shield here. Today I'm going to do a product comparison between STEK DYNOshield and Expel Ultimate Plus. So this one over here on the left is the Expel Ultimate. You can kind of see the seam going up the trunk over here. This over here is the STEK DYNOshield. So this is going on a car. It's actually my own personal car. The trunk, I have a brand new trunk anyways. The car is going for repaint. So I am going to be doing a little bit of damage to it, but again, we want to see what works and what doesn't in the real life scenarios and maybe some goofy little tests that we're going to do ourselves. So now let's see the gloss comparison between the Expel Ultimate and the STEK DYNOshield. So the DYNOshield is actually pretty good, but let me just show you the paint originally. The original paint, here's the edge of the Expel Ultimate. Give me 1 second, focus in. You can tell how bad this paint is. It's never been corrected. It's got overspray, orange peel, the absolute worst case scenario. Now working our way towards the Expel Ultimate. Again, this is the Ultimate Plus. And then slowly working our way to the STEK. So in person, the STEK is maybe a slight bit glossier. Just looking at the reflection of the light, let me try zooming in a little bit more. So now we're looking at the Expel Ultimate. Sorry, that's the Expel Ultimate right there. There's the line, and this is the STEK. Again, the difference is so minimal. The camera itself can barely pick it up. Both films look great. So what we're going to do is a little bit of a demonstration between the Expel Ultimate Plus and the STEK DYNOshield. This side, obviously, Expel Ultimate Plus, we just applied over here, STEK DYNOshield. We're going to be using a Scotch-Brite pad on these areas. On the left side, we'll apply a little bit of pressure, meaning we'll just let the pad itself do the work. On this side of the film, I'm going to push it enough that it's kind of bending the metal, so we're putting a little bit of back into it. We'll do the same comparison for all the options. So let's say sandpaper, we have 600 grit sandpaper. We're going to test both. We have a really heavy duty wire brush. We're going to test it out over here. We're going to key the car, and I'll also use a little bit of a permanent marker to see how it works. So we did our unscientific scientific testing, if you want to call it that. Again, these are just kind of standard tests that I could come up with here. Later on, what I want to do is hit it with a couple chemicals to see what's going to happen. With the screwdriver, when I was stabbing the car, you know what? I definitely did dent the metal. But again, let's see. That'll be a good comparison to like maybe big rocks hitting the car. So again, I really don't care about this trunk. Later on, we'll peel off the film to see what the damage really is. So just a little bit of a zoom in. The blue Scotch-Brite pad. Let me see with the light. So on the Expel, very little damage. You can see a little bit of scratching over here. Again, this is where I was pressing really hard. That stood up pretty well. This is the STEK DYNOshield. Again, can't really, I can see a little bit of scratching on the left side with the light scuffing. Same thing on the right side. Sandpaper, again, where we're using 600 grit sandpaper. So you can tell this is pretty damaged over here. Over here, I really did put some back into it. Really did put a nice mark into the Expel. This is the 600 grit on the STEK. Light pressure, very heavy pressure. Wire brush, again, this is a really strong wire brush. Sorry for the shaky camera. You can see the marks right there. This is where I was pressing a lot harder on the film. A lot deeper marks. STEK with the wire brush. It actually seems pretty good over here. We'll see what a little bit of heat does. And again, we also used a permanent marker. The permanent marker on the STEK, because of the hydrophobic coating, it did dissipate a little bit, so we'll see how easy it is to wipe off. And then the key marks, that's kind of self-explanatory. You can see them. Those are the stab marks for the big screwdriver that I used. Again, this is the XPEL Ultimate. I did scratch it up with the flathead as well, so it did, as you can tell, penetrate the film quite a bit. We'll see how the paint is underneath. And this is the STEK. So again, it looks like the film on the STEK did puncture quite a bit. But again, what's important is not how the film is right now, it's what's underneath the film. Just to say, as far as I can tell, I was putting the exact same amount of pressure on both sides. So again, we'll see what happens in the next little clip. So we're just going to use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on a new shop towel to see how the permanent marker cleans off. And again, you know what? Let's wipe it dry right now without anything on the towel to see how it does. So on the STEK, it did come off pretty well. XPEL still has the permanent marker on it. A little bit of elbow grease and it is coming off. Again, this towel is completely dry. We did not use any isopropyl alcohol right now. Let me change the angle. So as you can see, there is still a little bit of a vague mark left behind, but both films did remove it. Let's try hitting it with the isopropyl alcohol. Perfect. So permanent marker got removed on both. Okay, and now with the isopropyl, let's wipe it down again, the sandpaper area. There was a little bit of dust that came off the film, so we just use straight alcohol right now. Okay, so there are the marks still obviously there. We're going to try hitting with a heat gun right now. So now we're going to hit the light scuffed blue Scotch pad. We're using a heat gun on a little bit of a higher heat setting. So right now, both scratches, there's still a little bit. Give me 1 second. We're going to heat it up a little bit more. So for the XPEL Ultimate on the blue Scotch pad, both sides healed up pretty well. Now let's see if I can see a little bit of the damage here on the STEK. Okay, so I see a little bit over here. More. And again, STEK, both sides did heal up pretty well. For the sandpaper, we're going to hold the heat gun there for maybe about 5 to 10 seconds. And again, let me see if I can zoom in. This was 600 grit sandpaper that we used. Give me 1 second. So again, this is the 600 grit sandpaper. Okay, so that's actually pretty impressive. For the 600 grit, on the expel, everything does look like it healed up by itself. This is where I put a lot of pressure in on this side. Give me 1 second. So this is the harder side of the expel with the 600 grit sandpaper. So for the expel, the 600 grit did damage the film. Again, that pierced through the membrane, and that actually hit the polyurethane. So as you can see on the lighter side where I just let the sandpaper do the work, there is a little bit of scratching right there. Give me 1 second. Let me see if we can heat up this little area. Now we're going to do the same thing for, we're going to do the same thing now for the STEK. So there still is a little bit of scratching on the STEK over here, as you can tell. So with the same amount of pressure on the expel, it did heal up. On the STEK over here, it did not. Let's see the really hard press side. There we go. Yeah, we definitely went through the film, but again, it didn't penetrate the film, so the paint underneath we still know is 100% perfect. Okay, now the wire brush. Wire brush, I can't really tell any, oh there it is. Okay, so the left side with the light pressure. Again, we have the heat gun a pretty high heat. No, that didn't go through. It did not heal. But again, it's very hard to tell on this paint color the damage. There we go. We'll do the harder side of the wire brush. Now the STEK. Okay. So now what we've done is used a little bit of heat on both sides. Again, blue pad healed with the light pressure, healed with the harder pressure on the expel. Same thing for the STEK. So that passes that test. Sandpaper, this is the 600 grit, light pressure on the expel. It gave it a good maybe 80%. There's still a little bit of scratches on it. On the really hard pressure side, that's damaged film. On the STEK, light pressure, it's fine. Hard side, same thing, damaged film, but paint underneath is a-okay. Again, over here we used a pretty heavy duty wire brush. It did take out a good 90–95% of the scratches. Again, we do know that the film underneath is in perfect condition. On the heavy side, it did penetrate and left a couple marks inside the polyurethane of the film. STEK, light pressure, there's quite a few marks left behind. On the heavy pressure, same thing, quite a few left behind. And now the key marks, that's pretty self-explanatory. That's definitely not going to heal. We're going to peel the film back now and see if there's any damage underneath. Alright, so let's see what's going to happen after we peel off the films. And I'm pretty confident to say that all of this over here is going to be 100% safe. I'm more curious about this damage down here. So this is pretty impressive. I did put a lot of pressure into the key marks and into the jabbing of the screwdriver on the expel side. There is a little bit of glue left behind, but the paint itself does look pretty good. Alright, so we're going to use a little bit of the adhesive remover to remove the leftover glue, and then we can inspect the paint a little bit better. So it's actually pretty impressive. Even though I did stab it with a screwdriver quite a few times, there is a little bit of marking left behind on the paint, but again, I was slamming the screwdriver against it. I did expect a little bit of damage, but for what it is, you can see the little dent over there that I made. There's a little bit of paint missing. The STEK looks pretty clean. All right, so that's pretty impressive. We know that both films, honestly, I knew that expel is really good when it comes to this stuff. STEK is kind of something new that I've been playing around with lately. I'm pretty impressed with that, especially the fact that I was stabbing with a screwdriver. I'm probably going to hit it a couple more times just to make sure that both films are what they really seem. So again, my trusty snap-on flathead, and here's this expel. And the STEK. And again, I'm putting a lot of pressure into this right now. I think I went over the same area twice over here. Okay, so this is me going a little bit crazy with the screwdriver. To the left of the permanent marker is the expel. To the right was the STEK. Wow, that's pretty crazy. So I did, as you can tell, apply about the same amount of pressure to each side. Over here, I really did put a lot of power into it. It did go through both sides, but going up and down equally, I did put the same amount of force on each side. You can see the dents. But granted, how many scratches there were to how little damage there is, it's actually pretty impressive. So I hope you guys like the comparison between the XPEL Ultimate Plus and the STEK DYNOshield. Both films actually withstood pretty good damage. I'm almost going to say that they're both almost on the same exact level itself. Overall, you know what, the STEK does have a little bit more scratching going vertically, but granted the amount of power I was putting into it, it's kind of expected that I was going to pierce the material. Again, without any protection film, this trunk would have definitely been destroyed. Quality, both films come with a 10-year warranty. You know what, the clarity's there. I've been using the STEK for a little bit of time right now. I'm pretty impressed with the actual installation capabilities, the final outcome, the clarity, the shine. For the past maybe several years, I've been using the Expel film. So again, I'm very familiar with that film. I know that once it's on the car, it's not going to be peeling up. Overall, good quality for both. Thumbs up for both. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up as well. Subscribe to the channel. And also in the comments, if you have any questions, let me know. Maybe another idea for a video or some other testing you want to do, and I'll see what we can do. Again, thank you for watching, guys.